Hey guys, welcome back to 80 Deuce Adventures. I'm your host Attila. If we haven't met, hey guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you clicking the video. And if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button below to get notified of future videos. Today we are out in Stoddard Wells OHV area. It's a huge area of BLM land in Southern California in the high desert. And we're out here today ripping on this bad boy right here, my KRX1000 2020. I've had it for a little while, did a little modifications to it, so let's get into it and I'll show you all about it. I've had my KRX for a little bit over a year now, and I can honestly say that I love this thing. There's nowhere that I want it to go that this thing couldn't go. It's never let me down. It always starts up. It rides comfortable. There's a plethora of room inside. I'm 5'11", and I still have almost a foot behind me on the seat for additional storage, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But this thing's awesome. I will give you the pros and cons. There are a couple things that I wish were a little bit better on it, but honestly, overall, I'm 99% extremely stoked with this thing, and it's always a blast to run. As I said, I love this thing. There are a few things that drive me batty on it, and I'm working on. Don't know if it's a OEM dealer issue where I've been talking with one of the local dealerships about, or if it's an aftermarket thing and I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and upgrade certain things to alleviate my issues. So a couple of the cons before we get into the good stuff. So I'm getting an insane amount of squeaking from the joints right there. Those bushings are super squeaky, and while there's no damage or there's no mechanical issues with it, it does bother me a little bit, and I'll shake the side-by-side a little bit so you can hear it articulate and squeak. So that is excuse me. So that is one of the things that bother me about this thing. But again, these aren't deal breakers. These are just little annoyances. The second is these collars right here on the secondary spring right here. This little sleeve. It does make this hum noise when you're riding. It is a little bit annoying, if you will. I've talked to several people and they said it's an easy fix. You just got to replace those. And a lot of people are doing that with the silencer kit when they upgrade to the shock therapy upgraded coils on there, which I'm thinking about doing, just haven't done that yet. And the third thing, which is kind of a big deal, although I've learned to live with it, is the fuel tank. And the challenge with the fuel tank on these things is more or less the fuel gauge. It's got plenty of range. I get about 130 miles till I'm completely empty. And yes, I've done that before. But what happens is the fuel gauge on the fuel tank itself, there's a hump over the drive shaft, and sometimes the fuel will get lodged in the opposite side when you're toward the bottom, and so the pickup does not read properly. So you could be rolling, say, about 20 miles, 30 miles into the trip, and your fuel gauge reads half a tank. That is problematic. Right now I've pretty much chalked it up to the fact that if I'm riding, I go 100 miles and I fill it up. It's simple as that. I don't know if there's a fix for that at this time, but I do know that that is one of my main grievances with this thing is the fuel gauge, because I have to keep an eye on it, more or less, and it's always bothered me in the back of my head, like, is my fuel gauge correct, or am I gonna run out of fuel? So I've made a little compromises on that, but overall, like I said, I'm totally stoked. Those are the three major cons, if you will, that I have with the KRX. But again, so far I love this thing. So let's get into the good stuff, the pros. So as I mentioned, there is a ton of room in here. I'm 5'11", and the floorboards are super comfy. The position of the seats are really comfortable, and honestly, I had in my last side-by-side, I had PRP seats, and while these are not PRP by any means, these are really comfortable seats. I don't get any hot spots. I don't get any back pain on this thing, and You know, I have 600 miles on this thing and multiple days of riding over 100 miles. And honestly, I love this thing. It's super comfortable. So seats are great. The ergonomics are great. The dash layout on this thing is pretty awesome. You can see I've done some mods. The RAM mount, toggle switch. This is not the fancy one with the Bluetooth, but I purchased it on eBay. I have 3 of these now in my son's 4Runner, in my truck, and these things have served me really well. Dry storage right here, pretty good. Keeps the water and mud out. Done really well. I purchased a dash plate to mount my radio on here. This is a Fusion, and so far it's been working really well. Really intuitive, easy to work on, and super easy install. Obviously, I had some original toggle switches right here, which are no longer being used, and I have some plates coming for that. The glove box could be a little better. I wish it had kept the dust out a little more, but as you can see, it does allow a little bit of dust in there, but so far no water. And one of my fiance's favorite additions is the sunroof on here. She really appreciates the fact that she can see out, so it's pretty nice. Cage is done pretty well. And what I mentioned earlier is a gargantuan amount of storage back here. I currently have a toolkit, a first aid kit, a hat apparently, and a dry bag, 20-liter dry bag full of, you know, just miscellaneous stuff in case I break down some food, a sweater, fire starting kit. I like to go out into areas that are pretty remote. Recent additions are the PRP, I guess, what do we call them? Roll cage storage bags. These things are awesome. Right now I just got a bunch of snacks in here. We're riding with some kids. But the cool thing I like about these is they're easy to install. They fit the cage perfectly, and you have access from both sides, which is always nice. I purchased both sets, the left and the right side, as a pair, and I think they were right around 180, 200 bucks. This is the Tusk tailgate. It fit really well. Just bolted up right here to the cage and down here to the bed, and then it's a simple install. Really clean, came out really well, and as you can see, I fabricated a little mount for a Rotopack fuel cell on here, and then I have a good old trasheroo hanging on there because unfortunately people leave a lot of trash in the desert. Some pretty good mounting points right here for a cooler or what have you. I have these mounted on some basic straps, and this is one of my favorite little coolers. It's not an Igloo. I got this from Monoprice, and this thing has been with me for about 4 years and have gone on multiple trips. Gone to the Paiute Trail on 5 days, kept it nice and cold, ice the whole entire time. It was really great. Another upgrade was the Tusk spare tire carrier. Just installed this not very long ago, and honestly this thing has been great. It mounts a full-size 31-inch tire, and based on the reviews that I'm reading, depending on how you mount it, this tire can be angled a little bit. You can actually fit a 35-inch tire on here. I'm not going that big, but I do plan on stepping up to a 33 or a full-size 32, and that was important to me. I do like the fact that this can be raised and lowered depending on what you want, but also it can be pitched to fit a variety of applications. It's kind of nice because you can adjust the height right there depending on the offset of your wheel or the width of your wheel. What else? Let's see. Obviously I mentioned the Fusion radio. I have that guy in here. I have the sound bar where everything runs currently through the radio. I have kicker, 6.5-inch marine speakers that I installed, as well as an amplifier in the back. Another Tusk upgrade, apparently I'm repping for Rocky Mountain ATV, is their windshield. I really like this thing because number one, it's a solid glass automotive windshield, which riding out here in the desert, it definitely helps with the pitting. But also it has the windshield wiper, like I said, the automotive glass, a nice steel frame on it. Has an air vent right here where if it gets hot or if I want to let some more air through to the cab, it makes it nice. But also you take these two screws out, one right there and one right there, and this whole windshield folds down. So if I want to run without a windshield, it's not a pain to go ahead and take the whole thing off. And I have taken this multiple trips out here in the desert, up in the mountains in Big Bear, in the mountains of Idaho. Let's see, Glamis. I've had this bad boy out in Glamis for a 4-day trip. I've had it out in Idaho sand dunes, and honestly, 600 miles, no single problem. These Carnivore 31 by 10 by 15s have done superb. The factory bead locks are awesome, and I've never had a belt issue on any of my side-by-sides, thankfully. However, I can truly say that this is one of the largest cases or belt housings that I've had, and this does not heat up in any way, shape, or form. I'll show you on the dash. It actually has a factory temp gauge for the belt, which is really nice, so that you can monitor your belt temp. And even in Glamis with those tires on, let's see if I can get it started. Belt temp is right there, and as you can see, it's all the way down low. Let's see if I'm full of it or not, or if I actually have, oh, I lied, 596 miles, so just shy of 600 miles. But you can see the belt temp gauge right here. The highest I've had it is 2 dots, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars. The highest I've had it is running in Glamis for up and down Oldsmobile multiple times, and again, I don't have paddles, and even with that, it only got up to 2 bars. This is my 3rd side-by-side over the last 6 years, and this is by far the most plush ride, and it's the nicest fit and finish I've had. I've had more utility side-by-side. This is more sport, although it does have a ton of storage in that. And this thing has just been a pleasure to ride. Super plush. It is non-turbo, obviously, if you guys already know that, but it's 114 horsepower, and I can keep up with the turbos. Granted, top end, it's not going to do 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour like some of the turbos, but it definitely keeps up. I lead the pack a lot, and on trails such as these desert trails, romping through the woods in Idaho or Big Bear or any mountains like that, it has no problem setting the pace. So if you guys are in the market for a side-by-side or want to get into power sports, give the Kawasaki a try. Go check it out at your local dealerships. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a great machine. With that being said, if you guys have any questions, comments, please post them in the comments below. I try to get back to you guys as soon as possible, usually within a day or two. I want to make sure I answer all your questions. If you have any questions on any of the accessories I have on there, I'll try and post links to them in the show notes below, as well as some of the other videos that I've done. And again, guys, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Click the subscribe button. If you guys have a Kawasaki, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys on the trail. Take care.